much. I'm Michael Truncale, and I really appreciate this opportunity to get to know you, because I want you to know who I am, I want you to know why I'm running, and I want you to know what I stand for. So when you leave here today, you'll really know what I'm all about and why I want to serve the good people here in Brazoria County. This is Ron Paul's district. Now, a little bit about myself. I am a son of educators. My parents were teachers. I'm a dedicated family man. My wife, Denise, and I have been married for over 30 years. She couldn't be here tonight because she's helping volunteers call other folks throughout this district, urging their support for my campaign. And we have two daughters. My youngest daughter is a nursing student at UTMB in Galveston, and my oldest daughter is a nurse, and she's married. Their photographs are on the back of my card, so that's the best thing. Most of what you really notice about my card. But I am a lifelong conservative Republican. See, I was born in this district. And you might say, how in the world did you become a conservative Republican if you were born here? Because you remember just a few years ago, we were on the endangered species list, not that lizard that stopped at oil production out in West Texas. But I'll tell you why. My grandfather immigrated to this country legally and worked at the Texaco refinery in Fort Arthur, Texas for 70 cents a day. Now that's pretty hard living. But he was able to start his own small business, a little grocery store, and later some rental properties and what have you, and had a good life. See, he knew that the promise of America is that everyone is entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, not life, liberty, and the redistribution of wealth. And that's what we have going on now. Now see, my grandmother had a second-grade education, but she taught me and all her grandchildren that you're not entitled to anything unless you work for it. And the only way to get ahead is through hard work and education. See, that's a lesson a lot of folks in Washington have forgotten. So and I have to tell you that background because as you hear my story, that's the part of the seed on how I became a conservative Republican. Okay? Now, I am a lifelong Republican. When I was in college, I was earning a degree in economics. I was president of an organization called Students for Free Enterprise. I went to Lamar University, which is in this district. Now, that was in the 70s. Our economic system was under attack then as it is now. We didn't have a Tea Party back then. We didn't have, as I said, much of a Republican Party. But the Students for Free Enterprise gave me an opportunity to talk to people about free enterprise. I think free enterprise and private property is important because it gives the individual an opportunity to be whatever God wants him or her to be. You know what Ronald Reagan said about the difference between socialism and what we have here in this country? Here in this country, if you ask a young person, where are you going to be? They'll say, well, I might want to be an athlete, I might want to be a school teacher, I might want to be a doctor, whatever it is. But over in socialist countries, you ask a young man, what do you want to be? And they say, I don't know. They haven't told you yet. See, that's the difference. But anyway, went there, and then I went on and got an MBA, studied economics at the graduate level with Dick Armey, free market economist. And then, was a financial analyst for a while. And then my wife put me through law school. Came back to the area. By the way, when we were there, we went to the convention in 1980 for our first Republican National Convention to hear Ronald Reagan. What a great moment that was. When I came back to this district, I had a congressman get in my face one day, pound my chest, while a federal judge said no young lawyer should ever be a Republican in this county. You know what? They didn't stop me. I kept going door to door, knocking on doors, pushing pamphlets like this for other candidates. That was rough, because people would yell at me, curse at me, tell me to get off their land and what have you. Now, you know what happens when you knock on the door for somebody? They say, come on in, let's talk about it. Why? Because we stuck to our principles and our priorities and our platform, our conservative values. And that's what we are. We're conservative. And when people understand that, understand what we stand for, they accept who we are. Well, anyway, worked with others to build the Republican Party. Was a precinct chair and election judge. And we've seen voter fraud. It does exist, let me tell you. And I'm a member of the State Republican Executive Committee. In fact, I've been chairman of the Resolutions Committee for the Republican Party of Texas. And in 2008, I was a delegate to the National Convention. But one thing is certain, although I've been Republican before Republican was cool. I've never been a politician. Right? And I've never aspired to be a politician. I never want to be just another politician. Because the politicians go to Washington and they forget about the people back home. You see, the most important words in the United States Constitution are found in the preamble. We the people. And folks in Washington, the bureaucrats and the politicians have forgotten. Well, you might say, well, then why are you running? Well, I'm running because Washington is broken. Government's too big and it exercises too much control over our lives. When I started this campaign, we were at $14 trillion in debt. Now we're at $15.6 and we're moving to $16.3, probably before Election Day in November. Now, that type of debt is going to harm our children. It's going to destroy our currency. And you know what happens? It's going to devalue the currency. You know who's going to be hurt on that? People who are retired, people who are on fixed incomes, people who are on pensions. Their 401ks, their life savings are going to dwindle. We're going to pay for all this excessive entitlement spending. The spending has to stop, and that's why I've taken leadership on it. So you don't need another politician just to talk, because talk is cheap. We need a citizen taxpayer. That's what I am, a citizen taxpayer, a man of action. So I have proposed, it's on my website, a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution of the United States. You can sign my petition. I want to stand on the floor of the House of Representatives and let you all join it with the hundreds of others who already signed and say, these good folks in Brazoria County demand a balanced budget amendment to the United States Constitution. We've got to stop the size of the federal government because it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, what happens to the people and to the states? They get smaller and smaller. See, that's what the 10th Amendment to the United States Constitution is all about. By the way, I've been appointed by Senator Hutchison and Cornyn to the Federal Judicial Selection Committee. That's the group that screens candidates for federal judgeships. Man, have we been busy during these Obama years. You wouldn't believe what President Obama wants to put on the federal courts here. See, I'm a strict constructionist to the United States Constitution. I believe you read it, and you're supposed to believe what it says. It's an inspired document. Not, oh, it means whatever we think it ought to mean and achieve some result that we want to achieve. That's how we get crazy ideas and how we get changes in the law that, only 2 minutes remaining? Okay, then let me hurry and finish then. I believe we must have lower taxes because I know that the threat of higher taxes hurts the promotion of jobs in the private economy. We must have fairer regulations. This is particularly important here in Brazoria County. Not only does more regulations hurt small businesses, but they discourage the growth of the petrochemical industry and send jobs overseas. So we must have lower regulations, not excessive regulations, as you know. But we must also repeal Obamacare. I believe Obamacare is unconstitutional. If Obamacare is allowed to stand, there's no limit to what the federal government can do to you. It's going to create 111 agencies that get between you and your doctor. It's going to lead to government rationing of health care, and it is wrong. We must repeal Obamacare, and we must have energy independence. And that's why I was invited to attend a meeting with Senator Cornyn and folks at TransCanada. Folks want to bring the Keystone XL pipeline. That'll be 700,000 barrels of crude to this congressional district every single day. And we must have drilling offshore, onshore, shale gas. That shale gas will help Dow and BASF run more efficiently here. Not only will it provide low-cost energy for them to operate here, they'll draw materials out of it. They can use it raw materials. That's good for Brazoria County, good for job growth here. That's why I'm asking for your support, your vote in the early elections, which starts on May 14th. Together, we can put America on the path to prosperity, and we can make this congressional district the rising star of the Gulf Coast. I'm Michael Truncale. I would very much appreciate your vote for United States Congress. Thank you.